Oh, there we go, we're up. Hello everyone, welcome. Just making sure everything's ready to go here. Okay. I think we're just about ready to go. I'll give a countdown for the timer, and then I'll do my best to try and explain what's happening before it gets really complicated. There's a lot going on in this, and I'm going to want to take a few silent breaks during the most intense parts, especially when I'm walking around caves in the dark, because that gets really, really crazy. But yeah, let's get started. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! So, somehow, someone this year discovered that it was possible to manipulate the RNG in this game, and what they did was they used the process to skip all the enemies en route to a zone that had a metal slime, and they successfully beat a metal slime in one hit with an excellent move, manipulating their way into an excellent move. That runner's name is Crow, and I took that information and parlayed it into what is essentially the Taz of this game. What we have to do to follow a specific RNG route is, first we have to save and reset so that we start on a very specific moment. Next thing we have to do is clear the text box on a very specific frame. I didn't get it there, and I can tell I didn't get it because the guards are also the people that move around. They're governed by the same RNG. Whoops. So if they walk a certain way, I can tell if I got the right frame or not. So we just have to keep resetting until we get it, that's all. And I got it. These NPCs will also walk the same way. So the way RNG in this game works is every time you take a step from one tile to another tile, the RNG cycles forward one frame. And every time you sit still on a tile, the RNG cycles forward 16 frames. So every time I take a stop here on the overworld, it's because if I had walked to the next step, I would have had an enemy encounter. I'm going to stop on the bridge here for 2 beats instead of 1. Anyway, that's the principle of it. So I'm going to stop here because the next step would have been an encounter. And here. And here. Now, what we're doing is we're working our way down into the metal slime zone, and we're going to manipulate our way into some metal slime battles. We need to kill 4 to get to level 7. And because of the way RNG works in this game, after a battle, it's not marathon safe to do this route. So what I had to do was work out a way to fight new metal slimes that was marathon safe, and this is the result. So there's going to be a little extra, there's going to be some other enemies in between, and hopefully I get it all right. Everything's got to be right, frame perfect all the way through. So I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. Here we go. Looking for a Magiwyvern or a Knight. The Magiwyvern would be best. I cleaned up all the metal slimes on that half. If I find a Knight, some of them are going to be longer, but we'll get through them. And that's the Knight. So we're going to have some long battles. So, what I'm doing here is command buffering. And as long as I hold the button to do this, we're always going to be on the same RNG count when we get to a specific command. So I can use this to manipulate into the 1 in 32 chance of getting an excellent move to kill a metal slime in one hit. We need that because we have to kill 4 of them, and if we don't have excellent moves, they're going to kill us first. We're still very weak. But as I said, the ones on the night side of this are a little longer, so we just have to wait a little longer through these buffers. I will be making them shorter before AGDQ, no question. Just gotta wait a little longer. Hopefully I didn't lose count while I was talking. Okay, 10 more. Hooray! Alright, this one's actually very short, and then the one after it's going to be very long. Most likely. Oh, actually, it's 50-50. What we want to see is a Demon Knight. If it's a Wraith Knight, it's going to be long. Aw. Okay, we got the long one. We'll get through this, it'll be worth it. Alright, we're a quarter of the way there. Piece of cake. We'll get there. Command? We are halfway there. I have to manipulate two things here, by the way. The first is an excellent move, and the other is the amount of gold that the metal slime gives. And that's why it takes so long. But as I say, I will find a shorter one for this later. We're 3/4 of the way there. And 10 more. Hooray! So that's what the marathon-safe metal slime route looks like. Again, I'm going to shorten as many of those as I can, especially all the longest ones. That last one's going to be easy because it's at the very end of a path, so it's the only one I have to change. But there's one more in there that I want to make shorter. So anyway, that's the first step. We've gotten ourselves to level 7, and after this suicide we'll have 70 gold left. Next we have to save and reset so that we can get back on a known RNG path. And next we're going to go and get keys. Ah, I got the right frame there, first try. So what we're gonna do is go over to a molder where there are keys. We need some more gold, so we're gonna have to beat a gold man. Gonna take some damage from the swamp here. Pause here. Pause here. And a little bit of pause here. And to get through caves, I have to listen to the bonks against walls to keep the RNG straight. So we're gradually manipulating our way not only down here, but also into a Goldman battle. And we got him. Now he would kill us, so we have to put him to sleep, and we have to keep him to asleep. Using the RNG. And we're also really weak, so we need our hurt spell. And finally, at the end, I have to do some extra manipulation to make sure he gives me enough gold. He's got to give me on the very upper spectrum of his gold in order for me to be able to afford the 5 keys I'm going to buy. Can also manipulate run away from that wolf to be safe. Because even though we have a high success rate of running from wolves at level 7, if I were to be killed there, I would have to start the entire section over. So from here, the run is... I mean, it sounds like a total joke to call any of this run marathon safe, but the point is that if anything goes wrong in one single section, I can press the reset button and start over from where I started, because we have to save we literally have to save before we try every new section, because we need to start from a uniform RNG point. And what happens when you reset in Dragon Warrior 1, as soon as you continue your quest, based on all your experience, gold, and items, the game is going to put the RNG to a fixed point based on all those things. So 2 of the keys we get are for wings here, which we're not going to use until after the Dragon Lord is dead. They're going to save us, I think, a little over 80 seconds at the very end. So once again, we're going to suicide here. And once again, we have to save and reset. Next is Erdrick's Token. And it looks like I got the right frame. Right, right, up, right, left, left. Yeah, I got it. So, the buffers between steps are 16 frames wide, which is about 1/4 of a second, so they're really generous. The problem is, if you mess up even one of them, the entire section's over and you have to reset. So when you put them all together, this run is very, very difficult to achieve in real time. Got a long walk to go here. We need to avoid all encounters to get there. Now fortunately, at level 7, we have exactly enough HP to survive all this swamp to go get the token, and that's why we do it right now, before we get Erdrick's armor, because if we had Erdrick's armor, we would die, we would not lose any HP, and it would take longer to suicide. As it stands, we had the exact right amount. So now I have the token. And again, we save and reset. Next step is to get Erdrick's armor. And again, I got the right frame. Making frame-perfect inputs is very satisfying, by the way. Okay, from here we've got a long walk until the next stop. Gonna stop right here. And again, a long walk here, which is nice. We're going into Hawksness to get the armor. And again, we have to manipulate our way through an otherwise impossible battle. This time against an Axe Knight. So again, he's way too strong for us. We have to put him to sleep. And of course, we have to keep him asleep. Now here I discovered a nice little thing. I get an excellent move out of attacking right away, so that's cool. And that's the Axe Knight. We get the armor, and then we're going to use the Axe Knight to quickly suicide. Now, if I were doing a speed run, like a normal speed run, I wouldn't save here because it's not necessary. The next section we're not going to be doing any manipulations. And if anything went wrong, it would just kill the run and I'd want to start over anyway. But here we are going to save because if something does go wrong, we want to keep this marathon safe. We want to be able to come back to this point. So it's a lot easier to talk during this section. What we're going to do is get the Stones of Sunlight and the Silver Harp. We need to get all our key items that allow us to enter Sharlock, which is the final castle. We're doing this all at level 7. Level 7 is the minimum level because we need the sleep spell. It's literally impossible. There's absolutely no way, even for a Taz, to win before level 7. Barring some unknown glitch that nobody knows about. So we got the Stones of Sunlight. Next stop is Garen's Grave for the Silver Harp. And we're going to have random encounters along the way. We should be able to run pretty easily from everything. What we have to be careful about is that we actually press down before we hit run, because if we attack any of these enemies, they're going to die in one hit. And if an enemy is killed, we get extra experience and gold, which is going to alter our initial RNG, so we cannot allow that to happen. We need to keep all our stats fixed. Now, I've been playing so much Dragon Warrior Randomizer over the past few months. When you come to Garinham in that game, the first thing you want to do when you get into this town, assuming you have keys so you can get in here, is grab these treasure chests. And again, if I were to pick up one of these treasure chests, it would be over and I'd have to reset because I'd have different items or gold in my inventory, and that would be unacceptable. So it's very important to remember not to pick up any of those treasure chests. I'm gonna use the torch I picked up at the beginning of the game to navigate through here. I could do it in the dark, but it's just faster with the torch. Only takes a second or two to use. And again, we're gonna be running from everything en route to the Silver Harp. If something does kill us, we'll just reset, pick up the Stones of Sunlight again. Oops. And come here and get the Silver Harp. It's also worth noting we can take a few hits here and there from enemies. Not only do we have the heal spell, which we don't need to use unless we take a lot of damage, but we also have Erdrick's Armor, which heals us 1 HP per step that we take. So the only major danger in here is Wraith Knights. If we encounter a Wraith Knight before we want to suicide out of here, it's hard to run from Wraith Knights, and they're the strongest enemy in here, so it's dangerous. So here's hoping we don't encounter any Wraith Knights until we actually get the Silver Harp. We got it. So again, the fastest way to get out of here is to suicide, and we're going to use that suicide to save, reset, and set up a new RNG seed. But every once in a while, the enemies go into hiding. Here we go. A Druin Lord's going to take forever to kill us, because it casts the hurt spell a lot. Same thing with a Spectre. Those are the two enemies we want to avoid. Well, let's see how this goes. Okay, he attacked us twice. That's much better. The problem with the hurt spell is we have Erdrick's Armor, so it does less damage to us. Nice, he attacked us 4 times. That's perfect. So yeah, same thing here. We save and reset, get ourselves ready. Next is the Staff of Rain. And look at that, I got the right frame again. Okay, so again I want to be careful here. There aren't many encounters to avoid on this path, but afterwards things are going to get really complex. Because I've got to open and clear some text boxes to get the Staff of Rain, and that means I don't know what to expect afterwards, so I've really got to watch and be careful. So, I'm going to be quiet for a bit. And we'll see what I get out here. Okay. Whoa! Skeleton! Wow! This is the one encounter that it's like 1 in 50 that I get that encounter. So this next section doesn't entirely have to be manipulated, it's just safer and faster. But because we're this far in, we're going to keep going. But yeah, that one skeleton on that one square was the one battle that I don't have mapped out. So we're gonna have to walk the rest of the way with potential danger, and it's gonna get a lot more dangerous the further south we go. So hopefully everything's okay, but again, if it goes wrong, we just press reset, go back, get the Staff of Rain, and try again. So yeah, once we cross the bridge to the south, the enemies are going to get really dangerous. We basically hope that we don't encounter any. And especially above all else, we don't want to encounter wyverns. Those are the hardest to run from. Everything in this zone is still okay. Gonna cross over this way. Next zone is filled with harder enemies. And here's the bridge, so we're in wyvern territory. We have to watch out. And there's a wyvern already. Oh, we ran first try, that's good. Wolf Lord is okay. The best thing they can do is cast Stop Spell, for our sake. We're almost there. We made it! Right on. So now we have the Rainbow Drop, which gives us access to Sharlock. So we have no weapon, we're at level 7, and we're already preparing to go to the final castle. It's a fun run. I guess the Wraith is the weakest enemy in this zone, but we're still going to use it for the suicide. There we go. Once again, save and reset. Next, we're going after Erdrick's sword. And I got the right frame yet again. Well, that's very encouraging for when I go back to doing speedruns of this game without marathon safety. Now we've got a nice long walk to the next swamp section with no stops. There we stop. This whole thing, this section is very long. And one mistake, one misstep would mess it all up. So we're gonna have to be very careful. Even just using the rainbow drop here, we have to be very careful. That looks good. Alright, here's hoping this part goes well. I have to clear the staircase and then find an enemy. Let's see what we get. And that's Erdrick's sword! Now the reason we need Erdrick's sword, you might be thinking, well, if we're able to do all this, why do we need Erdrick's sword? Why can't we just go beat the Dragon Lord without it? Especially since when you have Erdrick's sword, you still only deal 1 damage to the Dragon Lord when you attack him. The answer is his first form. The first form has 75 to 100 HP. And if we didn't have the sword, we'd only do 1 damage to him every time. And because of the manipulation we'd have to do, it would take over a half an hour to beat him that way. Oh, I got the right frame yet again. That's incredible. Except for the very first section, the metal slimes, I didn't miss the right frame once. That's beautiful. So, we are already ready to go fight the Dragon Lord at level 7. Again, everything has to be perfect. 1 misstep, and we have to go back. One stop here. One more stop on this floor, and then I gotta be quiet and listen to the wall bonks, make sure I don't lose track of where I am. Here we go. Alright, we're back in the light, so we don't have to bonk on walls to get through anymore. So what's going to happen against the Dragon Lord's first form is that we have to do damage to him while making sure that he doesn't do anything except cast Stop Spell on us. So that's the purpose of the manipulation against the first form. And the second form, we have to get him to sleep, which is 1 in 16. We have to use the Hurt spell, which is 1 in 16 every time. We have to keep him asleep. We have to make sure the Hurts do enough damage. And through it all, if we make a single misstep, the entire fight is over and we have to start over. So here's hoping it goes well. Command. Alright, that's the first form. Here we go. And he's asleep. So you can see we only do 1 damage when we successfully attack him. So we need the hurt spell. He has 130 HP, by the way. I'll just stay quiet during this section for the suspense. The intensity. Everything has to be perfect. And that's it. So yeah, other than that skeleton I encountered outside of the Staff of Rain Shrine, everything was pretty smooth here. I'll try and give a countdown from 5 for time here. Just have to wait until we no longer need inputs to get the credits going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. And that's Dragon Warrior. Oh, it was still sub 40, that's awesome. Nice casual sub 40 marathon run. That's sweet. Yeah, my AGDQ submission video was also sub 40. We called it a casual sub 40 because it was using the marathon safe route. The run is currently a backup run for AGDQ, so I'm gonna go and hope that there's room for it. Honestly, I personally feel like it's something that everyone would enjoy and that, you know, it really belongs there. So I'll just say I really hope that it gets in. Thank you all very much for watching. Enjoy the credit music. It's going to go for another minute or so, and then I'll switch over to Dragon Warrior 2. Be right back.
A little fun fact about Dragon Warrior. I believe in the first Best of NES back in 2014, NESCardinality actually got the record in a run. And at that time it was around 5 hours. Now people are beating it in under 40 minutes casually. It's crazy. Crazy. Stay tuned for more Nessie.